What if there was a daily habit which, if you adopted it, would change your MSP forever? It would allow you to do everything you need to do to win new clients, get those clients to buy more from you, and get those clients to spend more. And of course, in changing your business in this way, you change your life. You could potentially spend more time with the people you love, doing the things you enjoy, and less time doing work you don't enjoy. You fancy that? One of the best business habits I've ever adopted is working on my business for 90 minutes every weekday. And I've been doing this for about 20 years now, and yes, I know it's shocking that I'm that old. I'd say, in fact, it's one of my secret weapons, because no matter what happens in my workday, so long as I've completed my 90 minutes working on the business, I can guarantee I'll get things done. Now, when I tell MSPs about this, I'm often hit with a series of common questions. So let me answer them for you right now. The first is, why do you do this, Paul? Well, because like you, I'm a busy business owner with big dreams and big goals. And I know how easily your day can be lost to a problem or just life. When I started my first business back in 2005, I spent the first 90 minutes of every weekday working on the business. And apart from a short break over lockdown, kind of like 6 years ago now, I've kept that habit going for the last 2 decades. I'm interrupting myself to ask, do you want to discover which areas of your MSP's marketing don't work and how to fix them? Well, fill in my marketing scorecard to discover where you're going wrong. You'll get an instant score for your MSP's marketing, highlighting which areas need work. Plus, I'll send you a personalized report telling you how to fix your biggest marketing challenges. Go to mspmarketingedge.com/scorecard, or better still, scan the QR code. Paul, how do you find and protect 90 minutes every day? That's another question I get. Well, you can take a kind of sci-fi approach to this, as you need to find and protect 2 things: time and space. Time to get this important work done, and space or a place to do it. Now, these 2 have changed a lot for me over the years, but currently I get up at 6 a.m., 6 in the morning, and I work on the business till 7:30 a.m. Don't laugh. I actually do this in bed. My alarm goes off at 6 a.m. I grab my laptop, I adjust my pillows so I can sit upright, and I get working. And yes, I know that creates a kind of a weird vision for you. In fact, in years gone by, I've done it in my home office, or I've gone out to an external office space. I did that when my daughter was very young and sometimes disruptive. Other places that other MSPs do this are local coffee shops, restaurants, or hotels, basically anywhere where you won't be interrupted. Now, this question leads on to another question. Wait, sorry, Paul, you get up at 6 every day. Are you mad? Well, maybe. When I first started this habit in 2005, I actually got up at 5 in the morning every single workday and worked for 90 minutes. And the reason I did that was because in my previous employed existence, when I had a job, I'd been a radio presenter, and I used to get up at 4 every morning to do the breakfast show. That was a 10-year habit for me. So getting up at 5 in the morning kind of felt a bit like a lie-in. From a practical point of view, the reason that I now get up at 6 in the morning are numerous. So it's a time of the day where people don't normally work. No one's really expecting to get an email reply from you at 6 in the morning. In fact, they're not even really expecting to get hold of you on email, on Slack or Teams or on the phone. It's kind of a dead time. So I've turned that dead time into productive time. The payoff for this is by the time my working day starts about 9 a.m., I've already done the most important tasks of the day. And that makes me feel great every single weekday. Now, MSPs do sometimes struggle to do this early in the morning, but then they find they can protect time over lunch or in the afternoon, or for some, it's the evenings. In fact, I do know MSPs that do this in the very early hours of the morning. The specific time that you do this doesn't matter. What's important is that you pick a time you can repeat every single day. If you're moving it around the calendar, it's really hard to make sure you do it. The same time every day works best. Now, this leads on to a question of, Paul, how do you keep this habit going? And actually, I've just given you the answer, because it happens at the same time every day. You've probably read the same stuff that I have about how you have to repeat something multiple times to turn it into a habit. If you try and move your 90 minutes around the clock, it's going to be really hard to fix it as a habit. The same time every day is simple and it's beautiful, and I promise you it works. Now, the next question I get is, Paul, what kind of work do you do? Well, the answer to that is anything that's working on the business rather than in the business. So typically these are tasks that fall into one of 3 categories: things that win new clients, things that get those clients to buy more, and things that get those clients to spend more. Almost every other task is working in the business. Now, sometimes I then get the question, Paul, could I just do 60 minutes rather than 90 minutes? And the answer is yes, you could, but you'll find that you get almost twice the amount of work done in 90 minutes compared to 60 minutes. Why? Because it takes time to kind of build up a bit of momentum to get started and then get going. And I often find that I'm in a full flow of work by the end of the first 60 minutes. So working that extra 30 minutes just gives you a huge boost in output. And because you're already in the flow, you really do achieve more in that final 30 minutes than you do in the first 60 minutes. I promise you, that's how it goes most days. Which leads on to a question then, right, okay, Paul, could I do this as one day a week rather than doing it in small chunks every day? And you could, but I promise you, you won't get anywhere near the results you'll get by doing a little bit of time every day. On the surface, dedicating a day a week to working on the business kind of seems like a really good idea. But in reality, by the time you get to that day, and most people pick Fridays, it'll be interrupted by all sorts of stuff from all the other days that you haven't yet got done. The beautiful thing about doing 90 minutes every day is that even if you do have an unusual day where you lose that time, it doesn't matter. You just get back into the habit the next day. Whereas if you've put it all into one day a week, such as Friday, and you lose that Friday to a client emergency or something else, you've lost the whole week. Next question then, how do I get started? And how about you commit to just doing this every day, starting, I don't know, like tomorrow, maybe next week, next Monday. Just do it as an experiment. You're going to try it for a week. If at the end it works, then keep doing it. If it really doesn't work for you, just dump it. So don't think of this as something you've got to lock in for yourself. Just think of it as a trial. And how about you give yourself a reward every day that you do this? We all respond differently to different rewards. For me, the thought of a Snickers is pretty much enough to get me to do almost anything. Now, interestingly, I just calculated that in the 20 years of doing this, I've worked on my business for 7,200 hours, which is more than 300 days. That's kind of getting near a year of solid work just working on my business. If I'd known that going into it 20 years ago, maybe it would have put me off because that does seem like an enormous amount of time and work. But of course, I've done this in tiny little inconsequential 90-minute chunks. And the last 20 years has gone really quickly, but I've also achieved some pretty cool things along the way, all thanks to those 90 minutes. So, are you going to try this?
Paul Green's MSP Marketing Edge.